The day I came home from the hospital, my pickup truck was gone. Before I could even ask where it was, my son calmly looked me in the eyes and said, "I sold it, Dad. You won't be driving anymore anyway." Those words hurt more than the surgery I had just survived. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I simply nodded and walked inside because I already knew something he didn't. If emotional family stories filled with unforgettable twists and meaningful life lessons speak to your heart, I'd truly appreciate you subscribing to Behind Dad. Before we continue, I'd also like to mention that the pictures shown throughout this story are creative visual dramatizations inspired by these events. They are not real photographs from my family's life. My name is James, and that old blue truck wasn't just another vehicle. My late wife, Margaret, and I bought it during the first year of our marriage. It carried our children home from the hospital, pulled camping trailers across the country, and even helped my son Daniel learn how to drive. Every scratch on its body held a memory. After Margaret passed away, driving that truck made me feel as though a small part of her was still riding beside me. While I was recovering from heart surgery, Daniel had full access to my house. I trusted him completely. He told me later that the truck was old, expensive to maintain, and practically useless because he believed I would never recover enough to drive again. Without asking for my permission, he signed the paperwork, accepted the money, and watched the buyer haul away the last gift my wife and I had ever purchased together. That evening, my phone rang from an unfamiliar number. The man introduced himself as the new owner of my truck. His voice sounded nervous. He apologized for disturbing me, but said he had discovered something hidden underneath the driver's seat while cleaning the interior. He quietly added, "Mr. James, I think your son has no idea what he actually sold." The moment I heard those words, my heart skipped a beat because I suddenly remembered something Margaret and I had hidden there many years before. For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. Memories came rushing back faster than I could breathe. Nearly 20 years earlier, Margaret had asked me to hide a small metal box beneath the driver's seat. We laughed while installing it because we believed no thief would ever think to look there. Life became busy, the years passed, and after Margaret died, I almost forgot the box even existed. Now a complete stranger had accidentally found it. The buyer introduced himself as Michael. He sounded like an honest man. He explained that while vacuuming the truck, his hand touched a loose metal latch. Curious, he opened the hidden compartment and found a sealed envelope, several old photographs, and a small velvet pouch. Instead of keeping them, he searched my name online until he found my phone number. The kindness in his voice reminded me that good people still exist. I asked Michael not to tell anyone else until we met in person. Before hanging up, he quietly said something that made my stomach tighten. "Your son called me twice today, asking if I'd found anything unusual inside the truck." My heart sank. Daniel didn't know exactly what was hidden beneath that seat, but he clearly remembered there was something valuable. Suddenly, his decision to sell the truck without asking me didn't feel careless anymore. It felt planned. The next morning, Michael arrived at my house carrying the small metal box. Before I could even thank him, Daniel's car pulled into the driveway. The moment he saw the truck parked outside again, every bit of color disappeared from his face. He jumped out, rushed toward us, and demanded to know why the buyer had returned. Michael calmly held up the unopened metal box and asked one simple question. "Mr. James, would you like to open this now?" Daniel's hands immediately began shaking. Whatever he believed was inside that box, he was terrified that I was about to see it. I looked at Daniel for a long moment before turning the small key that still hung on my old keychain. My hands were trembling so badly that Michael quietly steadied the box for me. The lid clicked open, and for a second, none of us spoke. Inside were several faded photographs of Margaret and me from our younger years, a bundle of handwritten letters tied with a blue ribbon, and a sealed envelope with my name written in Margaret's handwriting. Resting beneath them was a small cloth pouch. Daniel stared at the pouch without blinking. His breathing became faster with every passing second. I slowly opened it and poured the contents onto the table. A pair of antique gold coins rolled across the wood, followed by my late wife's wedding ring that she had asked me to protect before she passed away. The coins had some value, but the ring was priceless to me because it carried every promise we had ever made to each other. I realized then that Daniel had believed the pouch contained cash or expensive jewelry he could quietly sell before anyone noticed. I picked up Margaret's ring and closed my eyes. For a moment, I forgot everyone else was standing there. I remembered the day I slipped it onto her finger and the promise we made to face every challenge together. Opening that box wasn't about money. It was like hearing her voice one more time. When I finally looked back at Daniel, tears were running down his face. He admitted he had searched the truck several times before selling it, but never found the hidden compartment. He confessed he remembered overhearing Margaret mention a secret under the seat years ago and convinced himself it must contain something valuable. Before I could answer, I unfolded the sealed letter Margaret had left inside the box. The first line made my heart stop. She had written, "James, if Daniel is standing beside you while you read this, then he needs these words just as much as you do." Daniel slowly sank into a chair. He realized my wife had somehow prepared for this moment long before either of us could have imagined it. With tears in my eyes, I slowly read Margaret's letter aloud. She wrote that life would always test our family with moments when money seemed more important than love. She asked Daniel never to measure success by what he could take, but by what he could protect. She reminded him that the truck was never our greatest treasure. The real inheritance was honesty, loyalty, and the way we treated each other when no one was watching. As I read her final words, the room became completely silent. Daniel couldn't hold back his emotions any longer. He admitted that after losing his job, he had fallen into serious debt. Fear had clouded his judgment, and he convinced himself that selling the truck would solve his problems. Then he remembered hearing his mother mention a hidden compartment years ago. Instead of asking me the truth, greed led him to believe it held enough money to rescue him. Standing there with his mother's letter in front of him, he finally understood how far he had drifted from the values she spent her life teaching him. A few days later, Daniel found the buyer again and paid every extra dollar necessary to return the truck to our family. Watching that old blue pickup roll back into my driveway felt like welcoming an old friend home. I carefully placed Margaret's ring and her letters in a safer place, but I left one faded family photograph inside the truck. Every time I sit behind the wheel now, I see that picture and remember that love is never measured by the price of what we own. Looking back, I realized my greatest victory wasn't getting the truck back. It was seeing my son choose truth over greed before it was too late. If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments because your words may encourage someone to repair a broken relationship before tomorrow arrives. Share this story with someone who believes family is worth more than money. Thank you for spending this time with me on Behind Dad. The strongest legacy a parent can leave isn't hidden under a truck's seat. It's hidden inside the character of the children they raise.